By maybe putting some things in perspective around here in terms of in light of the events that have taken place, you know, some of the natural disasters that we're dealing with. I know, you know, our university president is a native of Puerto Rico, and she's trying to get her family out of there. And, you know, obviously what happened late last night in Las Vegas, you know, it's an interesting time, and I think these are real concerns. I think you know, maybe equate how much these things can affect young men and young women. You know, I know my own daughter, you know, was mentioning it today, and so I think that being mindful of some of the larger tragedies, this concept we always talk about with our players about problems versus real problems, and you know, certainly our hearts go out to the victims of the shootings in Las Vegas, and still thinking of the people that have been dealing with the aftermath of some of the natural disasters. And so, like I said, it kind of puts things in perspective. And feel sorry for yourself for losing a football game, and there's a lot more to lose out there. And so, as we talk about with our players all the time, football is something we do, it's not who we are. Can't allow that to define us, and we've got to be able to persevere through some adversities, and certainly there's some things out there that are more significant than what we're talking about today. One of the things I would add, just in kind of wrapping up the Weber State game, really felt like our script was about as good as it could go in the first half, with the exception of missed opportunities. I think Dylan Mahoney, you know, is able to keep his feet and even just kind of get in front of the guy on the reverse early in the game. That's probably a walk-in touchdown. You know, Troy would have had to make a really tough catch on the sideline, but even if he's not in the end zone, he's at least on the 1-inch line, and we probably are going to be able to execute that. And then, you know, later in the game, another opportunity to score where they come off the wheel route to Troy, and unfortunately Chris is flushed a little bit to his left, isn't able to make an accurate throw, but there's nobody within, and the closest guy to him was somebody sitting in Section C of Sunny Holland end zone. So that was going to be one of those another opportunity for us to capitalize. And against a very good football team, you have to do that. You know, scoring right before halftime was huge, but as I told our guys in the locker room, you know, I know what these guys are going to come out with. I mean, they're going to come out breathing fire and ready to go, and we needed probably a little bit more of a cushion, and to be able to withstand that third quarter where they just kind of took the ball and converted third down after third down, and we really didn't respond on offense the way we needed to give our defense an opportunity to kind of collect themselves. And then I was proud of the way they came back and fought and gave us an opportunity at the end. And so again, Weber State, I think, was as advertised. I think a very, very good team in all three phases. They're a mature team. You can see their team speed, their ability to kind of clamp you down a little bit in the corner position, very good on the defensive line, physical run game, hard to prepare for because of the vertical speed that they have on the outside, really good underneath target in their tight end 87, and then an efficient quarterback. And so I was proud of what our guys did in terms of, like I said, battling, executing game plan in the first half, but the tail of the tape really for us was missed opportunities in the first half. And so we've got to learn from that and build on it. We've survived September. Would have liked to have been, you know, 2-2 instead of 1-3, but it is what it is. And you can certainly see that I think our guys should gain some confidence from playing against a very competitive schedule. But we've got to go play a good team this week in Portland State, and they're hungry, looking for their first win. An interesting opponent, you know, interesting opponent. You kind of look at what they did early in the year. I remember watching that BYU game. That was that 0 week before we played, and I was kind of like, oh my goodness, these guys are pretty good, you know. And kind of, they had a lot of tragedy and a lot of adversity in the program a year ago, and you're thinking, okay, they've kind of worked through that, and now they're back to where they were 2 years ago, and you're really nervous. Obviously, they're starting a true freshman quarterback, and played BYU very, very well. Had opportunities in a lot of aspects against Oregon State to win that game. You know, missed a field goal at the end that would have tied it and sent it to overtime. Had some special teams mishaps against Davis, and the game kind of got away from them. And then really, you know, it's kind of a little bit of a sloppy game. Montana, really for both sides, a lot of turnovers. You know, they score on a kickoff return. Montana scores a couple of defensive scores, and so it was an interesting game in that regard. And I think the biggest thing that you see when you look at Portland State right now is, you know, what are they going to do at quarterback? You know, so obviously the senior number 4, the kid from Linden, it seems to me it's not unlike what we had going on with us last year, where you kind of have this young, dynamic guy, and for them it's the Easton kid that can do all this stuff with his feet and make plays and create outside the offense. But you even see, like in 2-minute situations, we did the same thing last year. You know, if there was a 2-minute situation, we kind of really, you know, rolled with Tyler because we felt like he was more prepared to run the whole offense. And I think you see the same thing. Like, they obviously like the things that Easton brings to the table as an athlete, but they've got a senior quarterback there that's been in the system a long time, and he's a pretty good player too. and I think they feel more comfortable with him perhaps in terms of running the whole offense. And so with that, I'll take any questions that you have.
I know Portland State's Achilles heel last week, just looking at the numbers, may have been penalties. Is composure for your guys going to be a bigger point this week? Maybe just try and
I think it is every week. I mean, obviously, there was some penalties that went against us in that game, but you know what? There's penalties that went against Weber State too, and there were some things. We got away with a couple things there too, and that's just the nature of it. And so really we've been a pretty composed team. We don't have a lot of personal fouls. We don't have a lot of guys chipping at the end of plays. They know that's not how we want to play football here, and so I think we'll keep our composure just fine. And, that's the expectation, and we'll demand that as coaches. And so we've got to just go play our game.
You mentioned the two quarterbacks. Does the offense look different with Kraft as opposed to Eason, or is it pretty much the same?
It's very similar. There's maybe a couple of quarterback runs that they like better with Eason. Mm-hmm. So they'll run the Q power with him a little bit more. They don't necessarily do that with number 4. Craig, is that how you pronounce it?
Kraft is how you pronounce it. Yeah.
Like Kraft cheese.
Kraft cheese, yeah.
All right, there we go. Well, thank you. I don't want to embarrass myself. So but they run a lot of Q draw. Q draw with him is a big play out of empty. They'll run quarterback zone, split zone. So a lot of the same plays, maybe just a couple of other wrinkles with Eason in the game, in the quarterback run game.
When they play Eason, but then Kraft plays receiver,
yeah.
What's that dynamic like? Because then he can.
Yeah, I know they had a double pass set up against Oregon State. They didn't get to it because Oregon State did a pretty good job defending it. He's actually he on his first touchdown against Oregon State. It's a great route. They're moving the pocket. They run a little out, and then he just waits for the safety to come down and then goes vertical. You can tell he's a really smart football player. I know Coach Barnum's been very complimentary of his leadership and things of that nature. So, it's an interesting deal because you kind of got to have a plan, not completely opposite plan, but I think you do need a little bit different plan with Eason than Kraft.
Can you talk about having Nick back in the mix and kind of how he's handled himself this first month?
Yeah, well, he's handled himself very well, and that was part of the deal. And I think this, as I said a long time ago, if he handles this the right way, this will be a very positive thing for him. And it wasn't easy for anybody, to go through. That's the guy. And back in May, we're saying, that's going to be our cowbell, and we're going to roll with that guy. And certainly that was a blow to our team. It was a blow to Nick, and I think it's been humbling for him, and I think he's handled it well. And we're excited to get him an opportunity to help contribute to the team now.
What will he bring to the backfield going forward?
Experience is the most obvious thing. He's been around here a while, and he's a guy that can really. You see a lot of us moving guys in and out, so to speak. Okay, we feel good with this back here. We feel good with this back here. I think Nick understands protections. He's good in pass protection. He's got good hands. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run between the tackles. He's got decent speed on the edge. So he's a guy that, when we get into a situation where, let's say, hypothetically, we want to use tempo, we don't have to go, oh, hey, that's Falcon 15, and we got to get 15 in the game to run that play. We can maybe just run through more of our offense.
Can you talk about some of the specifics, the way he kind of handled his business since the beginning of fall camp?
Well, when we sat down, the expectation was obviously that you were going to follow through on some of the obligations that you have outside of football to correct some of the wrongs and improve yourself as a person first and foremost. Secondly, was you're going to be on scout team, and you need to put a penny on and cover kicks and be the scout team tailback and be a leader down there with that group and not be a distraction. And he did all those things. And if he hadn't, he wouldn't be playing. And so I think he's responded in the correct way and give us an opportunity to improve moving forward.
At that spot, is there any chance for rust, or do you expect him to hit the ground running right away?
There might be a little bit of game rust, but I don't think it'll happen. I think you may see him maybe a little bit more tentative than he would normally be early in the game just because he hasn't had the live bullets flying at him. But I think it'll quickly be like riding a bike, and he's been taking shots and running the ball down there with the scout group too, so it's not like he's just been sitting on the shelf.
What's the plan to address the kicking game this week?
We're going to go kick, and I think we got too many guys in their ears, I was telling BJ this morning, I said, before quality controls and all this stuff, I'd sit there and I'm coaching the linebackers and the special teams, and the kickers are in that group. They come in my office, I give them a sheet of paper, I say, make sure you get all this stuff done, don't be on lists, go to class, it's the 2 yellow things, put the ball through and let's go. And sometimes that works better than having 9 guys telling them what to do. And really, for Gabe, the first one, peaks, pushes it. Standard kicker deal, right? What does he do? Makes a correction, pulls the next one. Hit both of them very well. And so, I don't think that's going to be an issue, really. And, hey, it is what it is there. I was frustrated with the punting, really. And because Jared's been excellent at that. And so I think he had a bad day. And certainly I think weather was a factor in some of those. But, we'll be fine there. We'll be fine.
You've kind of prided yourself on special teams throughout your career. How uncharacteristic maybe are some of these things?
Well, I've stepped back a lot too. I'm spending a lot of time with the offense. I'm spending a lot of time with Ty. And we've invested a lot of resources into special teams. We have a quality control guy. We have a full-time special teams coordinator that doesn't coach anything else. And so, it needs to get fixed. Or maybe I will be more involved. And if I need to be, I will. If I feel like that's what we have to do to win, trust me. There's no sacred cows around here. And so, I think the appropriate level of urgency has been created in that room. And I'd say this, not to make excuses, but we're covering kicks with a lot of young guys. We're trying to get those freshmen opportunities to play. They'll improve just with game repetition. If it's the first time you do it and you correct it after you make a mistake, then we can live with that. But if it's the 5th time you do it and it's not getting corrected, then obviously it's one of 3 things. It's either the coach, the player, or the system, and you got to examine all 3 when you're struggling.
Back this week and a number of reverses throughout the year. It's kind of like just seems like a do-it-all guy.
Yeah, he's kind of a Swiss Army knife. He played probably any position that we wanted to on skill-wise on offense. He probably played tailback, quarterback, in the Wildcat, or even as a passer, he's a pretty good thrower. All of the receiver positions, and so he gives us a lot of flexibility in our game plan.
What is it about him that just makes him able to do that?
He's a good athlete. He's kind of a confident kid, but he prepares really well too. Whether it's in the weight room, whether it's in the off season working on the jugs guns, whether it's watching tape with Coach Miller. He's a guy that understands that he can impact the game in a variety of ways.
Portland State's defense, what stands out about any personnel or anything that?
Probably their D line and their corners are the 2 guys. They got a linebacker who's kind of a smaller guy, number 39. He's very active and quick. I think he's their leading tackler. They bring him in some pressure situations. Their corners are good, 29 and 9. Chris Cisse, number 9, is an Oregon transfer. He started. I remember him playing corner against Washington when I was there, and so. And he's kind of a big play. He had 2 interceptions this last week against Montana, but he also gave up a couple of plays. And so he's aggressive. He'll take some chances at times because he's long and athletic, and you can see him. It's sometimes it's maybe discretion is the better part of valor, but he makes plays too. And so he's a guy that you got to be aware of because he is a playmaker for him on that side of the ball. And so not unlike what we saw last week with Weber, those corners will get up and challenge you. And then number 99 there is a pretty good pass rusher for him too, the Dade kid.
You mentioned that aggression. Is there a way to communicate that to your receivers when a guy does take risks like Cisse does on the outside?
Yeah, well, there's always ways to try to take advantage of that. You can see there's there's a variety of things that you can do, but you still have to be able to create separation when you're one-on-one. And a big part of that is Chris putting the ball on time, on the right spot, so that when they do play off, we can take advantage of easy throws and get some confidence and some rhythm for him.
Are they bringing pressure consistently?
No, they're not a heavy pressure team. They play really a lot of base defense. They might bring one guy off the edge here or there, a will linebacker, a Sam linebacker. They'll bring some corner pressure occasionally. But their DNA is really not to be a heavy pressure unit. They play their base defense. They play pretty well, and they just try to make you earn it.
Despite the 0-4 record, do you feel like this is a dangerous team coming?
No, there's no. I think anybody in the league would say that. When I look at these guys, I remember we used to play Louisiana Tech when I was at Boise State. They always had the best they always scared you the most. It was like you'd start looking at them on film and you're like, who's that guy? Who's that guy? And they always played a bunch of SEC teams early, so their record might not be great. And you knew you were going to have your hands full when you played them. And I see these guys a lot the same way. They played a really competitive schedule, and and I don't think it, I think that they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of dangerous guys. You look at that running back, number 22, he can go. They've got a couple of tight ends that are really good targets. They've got multiple quarterbacks you got to prepare for. Bounce down guys at one of the corners, and some of the defensive linemen that are, next level type athletes, obviously. It just didn't work out wherever they started their careers. And so I just see them as a, like I said, that's kind of the analogy I use, is they play a really tough non-conference schedule, and they have a lot of really good athletes, and so it's dangerous.
I know you addressed it in general off the top, but have you been able to reach out to Alex Neal? I know a guy coming from UNLV may have some connections there to the city, and I guess get in touch with him and see how he's...
Yeah, I haven't seen those guys today.
Yeah.
I obviously found out about it early this morning.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Haven't had an opportunity to talk to Alex, and I think one of the first things that went through my head is, gosh, that'd be a challenging job right now to be the head football coach there. In terms of how do you help your kids feel safe and let them know that hey, your safety is our number one priority. And I don't know, that would be a tough deal.
With Nick's return, will that impact Troy Anderson's role much?
I think it probably will. Mm-hmm. I think there's a number of things that go into that. Troy has been, kind of depending on the game, he's kind of had a different role each week, and that's the thing that's probably the most impressive about it. He's a one-rep guy. Line up here, do this. Oh, got it. And so whether it was an empty as a receiver this week or out of the backfield, running between the tackles a week ago against North Dakota, and so I think he's a guy that, because of his versatility, we can utilize him in specific packages on offense and maybe take a couple shots off of him here and there.
Given his aptitude, is it tempting to move him back to linebacker? The depth there is a little thin, or is it kind of too late in the season to make that switch?
Yes, it's tempting. Ask Ty, I'm sure he'll do the same answer. He's only just pounding the table up there, I can hear him.
The corner situation, looks like Tyrell Thomas not on the depth chart anymore, but you must feel comfortable though, given that Damian has given you some...
Yeah, we got a starter there, right? It was a starter for us and played really, actually probably his best game against one of our best passing opponents in Washington State. And so, and Tyrell, he's going to be out for a while. I don't know exactly what that while is. He's at the doctor right now, and hopefully it'll be something that's a little while and not a long while. And so, but I think that what you'll see is, you'll see Damian Washington, you'll see Bryce Alley, who's played at a high level for us this year. Braylon Evans becomes a guy that needs to be ready to go, and as well as Jalen Cole will probably be the next guy. Even though he hasn't played up to this point. It's funny because all these freshmen, some of them want to play, some of them don't want to play. Some of them, you're like, hey, we got depth here, let's redshirt shit. But the thing you always tell them is, guys, it's a long season. Hang in there. We may be calling on you down the road here, and Jalen's kind of one of those guys where hadn't flashed it in camp at times. Felt like it would be best for him to redshirt. Well, hey, now all of a sudden his running partner's out. We might need to pull on him, and I feel really good about Jalen. Like, I think that's a kid that he is a competitive kid. He's got good quickness. He's physical. Don't let his size fool you. I mean, this kid will throw his body around and make plays. And so I think he's a guy that you'll see, starting to get some reps.
What Dre Jackson's role, given that JoJo's not listed?
Yeah, so JoJo, and kind of like Tyrell, he's not going to play this week. We're making it back for the Eastern Washington game, and we're hopeful. We'll know a lot more about him. He's got an MRI scheduled later today. We'll know a lot more about him later. But Dre's a guy that kind of came in late. Out of the junior college guys, JoJo was here really all of July. So was Jabari. Dre was the one that wasn't. And he really wasn't in as good a physical condition when he got here, but he's worked himself into shape. He's really had a good couple of weeks of practice. His attitude, the kid kind of impressed me because I thought he was going to tank it. You never know. You're like, coming here to play, and all of a sudden you're down on the depth chart and you're running with the scout team. And he's embraced that as a challenge and really stepped up. I've been impressed with his character in terms of how he's responded. And I think he's a guy that can help us and will have to help us probably. Whether it's in the kicking game or playing in the defensive backfield.
Speaking of the kick game, have you liked the way that Chad Cano has covered kicks?
Yeah, that guy's kind of a stud, man. I like that kid. Skinny upper body, but I think he's going to be a really good player, man. I just do. He flashed all through fall camp. He's long. He can run. He's got, there's a deal. I call it punch timing, but it's like, you know, sometimes these guys that are maybe not great weight room guys, it's not all about how much you bench press or clean or squat. It's about just understanding how to get into that, get in range and just get that near foot in the ground on contact and really snap. And Chad kind of has that. I mean, he's got some real snap to him. When he hits you, you go backwards. And even though he's not maybe the most physically imposing guy, but he is a 6'3", 210, 215-pound kid. And, a year from now, I think he's going to be a dude.
Is Josh Hill still working his way back?
Yeah, I mean, we're in the process of doing that. Really, I'll tell you what, 41's playing pretty good. And so that kind of gives you the opportunity to maybe not rush a guy like Josh back. We're going to get Josh back, and it's going to be, I really believe it's going to be like at the most opportune time. It's like, okay, good. It's kind of like what's happening right now. You know, you never want to have a guy get suspended for 4 games, but we got fresh legs coming in, and everybody in this league right now is a little beat up. You know, we're talking about a couple of injuries for us. I'm sure every single coach in the conference and every single coach in the country is dealing with some level of injury.